Hi, I'm Brian Crombie, and we're going to be talking on the Brian Crombie Show. We're going to be talking about politics, arts, business, and social issues on the Brian Crombie Show on Canada One TV. Good evening and welcome to the Brian Crombie Show on Canada One TV. You know, I had this interview with Sara MacIntyre, who is the former press secretary to former Prime Minister Stephen Harper, and it was fascinating. We talked about a whole bunch of issues for Canada for 2021 or whatever it is we're in. But I wanted to find out more about her and her career, and so I invited her back so that we could chat a little bit about what it's like being a press secretary to the Prime Minister of Canada. And then she was she worked with the Canadian Taxpayers Federation. She worked with an offshore wind company. She worked with Christy Clark, Director of Communications, the former Premier of British Columbia, and then she's run her own businesses. So she's really got quite a fascinating career for a young lady, and so it's kind of interesting. So Sara, welcome to my show. How are you?
I'll come back anytime if you call me a young lady, Brian.
I'll call you a young lady anytime you want. But I did have a fascinating chat with you about politics, but we didn't really talk much about you. And so I'd love to hear about what it was like. So first of all, you were at the University of Calgary, and I understand you did some work with Tom Flanagan, who was like the guru of the Conservative Party at the time and one of Stephen Harper's biggest supporters, correct?
Yeah, he's my thesis advisor. So I was working with him on my thesis topic and on my coursework and my reading courses. And then, of course, he kind of got out of academia and started getting things organized for Stephen Harper to come back as leader of the Canadian Alliance. And
right.
Then became, of course, leader of the opposition. So once that happened, then Tom called me from Ottawa and said, we need somebody like you to come and be a legislative assistant on the Aboriginal Affairs file, which is what my topic, my thesis topic was. So then I worked with Brian Pallister, and then I moved over to the leader's office as the lead researcher on the sponsorship file.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Lead researcher on the sponsorship file.
So I got to see all the blacked out cabinet documents and in-camera meetings and learned all about Chuck Guite and his girlfriend and his license plate that was gravy. His license plate, this is the bureaucrat that actually got charged.
His license plate was gravy?
Yeah, enfoncé, oui. Yeah, so that, I know, it was pretty grotesque. And I was young, I was 26 years old, and I'm in the middle of this thing, and then the parties came together to form the new Conservative Party.
Now, were you involved in that whole amalgamation?
Well, I was around for some of the discussions behind the scenes, and I was aware of some things that were happening, usually after they happened. I wasn't somebody at the table negotiating anything by any means.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they came together, and when was the leadership? It was right then?
It was 2004.
Were you involved in the leadership of the new Conservative Party?
No, there's a thing about being politically exempt staff. So it's a provision in the Canadian Human Employment Code or whatever. So you could be fired on the spot for no reason, and you have no recourse. So I was, out of university and had $27,000 in debt, and I was making $26,000 a year. And if Harper didn't win, then it would be a culling of the leader's office. And so I had to have a plan B, and that's when I went to the Taxpayers Federation in beautiful British Columbia.
So you left?
Yes. Yeah.
You were right there in the thick of things in the sponsorship file, and then you left and went to the Canadian Taxpayers Federation. Yeah,
I was actually going to I have two reference letters from Stephen Harper, one from 2004 and one from 2012. And the 2004 one, he personally wrote, "Come back here, we need you." And so then the 2012 one is, "Thank you for all your work in coming back and getting us a majority."
So 2004 you left?
Yes.
And you went to Vancouver?
Victoria. The head offices for the CTF was in Victoria because that's where the legislature is. So, but you're kind of bouncing back and forth between Victoria and Vancouver.
My image of the Canadian Taxpayers Federation is a very right-wing group. Is that correct?
Well, I mean, it depends on how you define your spectrum and how you define right. It's all about lower taxes, more accountable government, and less waste. So it's really holding government's feet to the fire. And
Right.
at the time, it was Gordon Campbell that was premier there. I worked with a lot of ministers on getting a taxpayer's bill of rights. I did the first municipal tax assessment for the entire province, comparing both residential and commercial and the differences on mill rates. And I'm such a nerd as I'm listening to myself in the province, and really kind of shining a light on the fact that.
So it was primarily BC tax issues that you were involved in.
Yeah, I was the BC director. So
Oh,
there was
okay.
a federal director at the time who was John Williamson, who was an MP in Stephen Harper's Conservative government.
Right.
And Troy Lanigan was the president. Adrian Batcher, who's now editor-in-chief of the Toronto Sun, she was the Manitoba director. Tasha Kierden, who's at the National Post, she was the Ontario
So
director.
some great contacts.
We had Mark Milkey. I mean, this is an organization that was originally founded with Jason Kenney. So it was an amazing grooming place. I'd never done an interview ever in my life on camera. When I went to BC, and in my first month, I did 300.
300.
Yeah, I was attacking the MPs, or the MLAs, they call them, members of the Legislative Assembly in British Columbia, for voting themselves in a pay raise.
And then you went to a wind company?
Yeah, so part of my work there, I was kind of criticizing the provincial government's hydro plan, and I was doing an interview with the CEO, Ray Castelli, of Nyakund Wind Energy, and he called me immediately and he says, "Can you come work for me?" And so I took a break from that kind of real public advocacy role, and I worked and learned a lot about offshore wind energy. I knew a lot about petroleum production from where I grew up in Sarnia, Ontario. But I learned a lot about offshore wind energy. And I mean, we have some of the strongest wind resources outside of Northern Europe in Canada, and it's just sitting there. And we actually worked with Guj, who is the chief of Haida Gwaii, and the Lux Kw'alaam and Prince Rupert. We got some impact benefit agreements with a lot of First Nations, and we just priced ourselves out of the market. At the time, it was when everyone was lining up at Vestas, who's the big wind turbine producer, and they weren't even taking orders. They actually had security at their facilities to keep people away from actually trying to come and buy their wind turbines. And then, of course, 2008 happened.
So 2004 to 2008, you were doing...
2004 to 2007. I took a year off. My mom and dad died pretty close together, and I just needed some personal time. So I went to Kelowna and did yoga every day, and went to Quail's Gate, as we talked about our last time, one of my favorite vineyards, and Grey Monk and Mission Hill.
And then what brought you back to Ottawa?
Well, the Prime Minister called, so. When the Prime Minister calls you to ask you to come back.
When did he call?
He called, I think it was in August of 2009, yeah.
August of 2009, so that was just at election time.
Yeah, they were in minority position at that time, and
So the election was 2008?
Well, there was 2008, and then there was the majority one that I worked was 2011.
2011. So that's Michael Ignatieff was the leader.
Just visiting. He was just visiting.
Just visiting the leadership of the Liberal Party,
Mm-hmm.
and Stephen Harper was a minority prime minister, and he called you, and what did he say?
Well, he had his staff call me. He didn't call me personally.
Okay.
They just called and said, we've got this position opening, and you work
What
really.
was the position?
It was press secretary to the Prime Minister.
Press secretary of the Prime
Yes.
Minister.
Yes.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah.
What's it like being press secretary? I think about West Wing. I was a West Wing fan.
Yeah.
You probably weren't given your politics, but I was a West. And CJ Craig,
That's what everyone used to call me.
You got to do it.
Yeah, it was an incredible experience. I feel so privileged to have served, and I've visited, I think, 56 countries, and been to every coast of this country, and including the Arctic trips. I did 3 Arctic trips with Prime Minister Stephen Harper. I've met many world leaders. I've been in backroom meetings. I was there when, having the first meetings when Jack Layton said that he wasn't going to support the budget in 2011, and we all knew that it was go time. And so I really count myself lucky that I've been able to do this. Intense. You're working 24 hours a day, and you don't know what time zone you're in, because I was traveling with the Prime Minister most of the time, whether it's domestically or internationally, and so you kind of lose track of what time zone you're in, and do you have any clean clothes in your closet for the next day at work.
And how long did you do that? You did that from 2009 until when?
To 2012.
Till 2012. So a pretty intense time.
Yeah, it was intense and rewarding, and it's hard to peak that early in your career, so I'm hoping to reinvent myself on the business side now.
I'm sure you will. We're going to come back in just a minute. Stay with us. We're going to chat more with Sara MacIntyre about some of her experiences as a press secretary to the Prime Minister and some of her other experiences in just a minute. Stay with us.
एक छोटी सी तकरीब में शिरकत भी आपके प्यारों को कोविड-19 की जानलेवा बीमारी का शिकार बना सकती है। जब तक सबको वैक्सीन नहीं लग जाती, अपने घरों में रहें और जिंदगियां बचाएं।
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Sarah Singh and I'm your local member of Provincial Parliament in the riding of Brampton Centre. I know that the last year has been difficult for many families because of COVID-19. And I want you to know that my office has been fighting on behalf of the residents in Brampton Centre. If you need anything at all, don't hesitate to give us a call. My number is 905-454-1233. I hope that you've been keeping well and we look forward to hearing from you soon.
Patna Kebab House. The taste you like, the cuisine you love. 2 locations to cater to your needs. Mississauga at 755 Queensway Road East, 905-897-1420, Scarborough at 1885 Lawrence Avenue East, 416-759-4920. All halal, dine-in, take-out, catering. Patna Kebab House.
Assalamu alaikum. Hello, my name is Kevin Yard, your member of Provincial Parliament for Brampton North. And I know this past year has been hard on everyone due to the COVID-19 pandemic. I want you to know I'm going to fight hard for the residents of Brampton North for any of your concerns down at Queen's Park. And if you have any questions, please feel free to contact my community office at 905-495-8030.
घर खरीदने का इरादा हो तो सबसे बड़ा मसला मॉर्गेज की अप्रूवल, मगर अब ये मसला नहीं रहा क्योंकि हमारे साथ हैं मॉर्गेज एडवाइजर मोइन अहमद। मॉर्गेज अप्रूवल सिर्फ एक कॉल के फासले पर। कॉल कीजिए 416-666-1563 और $3,000 कैश हासिल करें। सम कंडीशंस अप्लाई। कॉल कीजिए 416-666-1563। मॉर्गेज एडवाइजर मोइन अहमद।
Buying or selling a residential or commercial property is one of the biggest financial decisions most people will make in their life. The real estate lawyers at Alam Law Chambers will guide you through the complete real estate laws to ensure your transaction completes on time and your dreams come true. Reliable and affordable. Alam Law.
Was your family or business prepared for this financial crisis? Want to learn how I prepare my clients with the essential financial planning pyramid for any financial crisis come their way? Hello, this is Zahid Sayed from Arooj Financial. For your complimentary Zoom or Skype meeting, call my office at 905-624-0008 or visit aroojfinancial.com.
KK Travels believe in providing everyone with first-class customer service. We take care of not only your air ticket, but dignity and respect as well. We are available on WhatsApp anytime for you, even while you are in Pakistan or any other destination. We provide the lowest price guaranteed and are open to price match any airline.
We are KK Travels under supervision of Gas Khan at 905-367-9433 or visit www.gaskhontravels.com.
Are you looking for a different type of realtor? Meet Sohail Khan, broker owner of Century 21 Innovative Realty Inc. You don't need to know a lot about real estate, but you do need to know Sohail Khan, who knows a whole lot about real estate. He knows contracts, negotiations, research, he knows the market, and he really knows the area. When it comes to real estate buying or selling, Suhail Khan is a know-it-all. Get to know Suhail Khan. 416-822-0305 or at suhailkhan.ca. Experience excellence.
टीम फरहान मॉर्गेज सॉल्यूशंस आपकी खिदमत में पेश 15 साल तजर्बे के हामिल, आपकी जरूरियात और मर्जी के एन मुताबिक कारोबारी, रिहायशी, तामीराती और ज़रूरी मॉर्गेज सर्विसेज। हमारा कम तरीन मॉर्गेज रेट। टीम फरहान
को एक दफा खिदमत का जरूर मौका दीजिएगा। And this is my personal promise to you, you will not be disappointed.
At Team Farhan, we have a mortgage solution designed for you. मज़ीद मालूमात के लिए 416-569-9294 या फिर विजिट कीजिए हमारी वेबसाइट www.teamfarhan.com.
Meet Kamran Qureshi. Kamran is an expert in providing personalized advices in the field of mortgage services. He can assist in dealing with purchase transactions, all refinance and equity takeouts, financing for primary or investment properties, transfer from other lenders, debt consolidation. Kamran has been providing mortgage services to the community for the last 17 years. Simply get in touch with the expert to arrange a meeting that works for you. Please call Kamran at 647-280-6663.
Welcome back to a fascinating conversation we're having tonight with Sara MacIntyre. Sara is the former Principal Secretary to former Prime Minister Stephen Harper. And really interesting experiences. And Sara, you were doing that. How old were you when you were the Principal Secretary?
I was press secretary, not principal secretary. Titles matter in this business. I think I was 37 or so.
37?
Yeah, so a bit old for compared to this generation that's around Trudeau, yeah.
Press secretary to a prime minister at 37 has got to be pretty cool.
Yeah, there's been so many.
How'd you get ready for, like, you know, all those different topics that you might get asked?
Well, you're just constantly on your phone, and you're constantly in briefings, and you're constantly calling people, and you know, you gotta, if you've got good people around you, then you can get good information fast. And you know, we have a whole kind of issues management team that's you run with the kind of the hot topics of the day, and you try and find out the facts so you can get some talking points that actually are factual, so you don't have to crawl back on them. But I mean, the biggest lesson there always is, and it's the Sean Spicer lesson: don't ever lie. So if I didn't know something, you have to be confident enough to say to the media,
the biggest crowd in inauguration history.
Oh, right? It was so painful to watch. And then Smooch or whatever, isn't Scaramucci or whatever.
Scaramouche.
But
Lasted, what was it, 10 days?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. There's a film called In the Loop, and it's a BBC mockumentary about how the U.S. got the resolution to get passed at the UN to go into Iraq after 9/11. And it's all about the communications director to then Prime Minister Tony Blair. And if you watch that, it was my life. And it wasn't always so acrimonious, but when it was Harper's birthday while I was working for him, I went to Blockbuster, which was still open then, and got him a used copy of In the Loop for his birthday for $6.99. I left a sticker on it. And he watched it, and I said to him, what did you think about the movie? He's like, well, you know, it seems like none of them really like each other. I said, yeah, it's the same in your office. We didn't really like each other. So well, it's very competitive. It's very competitive.
Why is it so competitive?
Because you're just there at the leisure, so you can get moved out very quickly, and there doesn't have to be a reason, as I was mentioning before, being politically exempt staff. You can lose that position very quickly, and so there is a tendency, I think, with some of the group to think that there's only so much room to be advise and change things or move things forward, and so everyone looked at each other kind of suspiciously if they were embarking into their territory, and then it was kind of, you know.
So this idea of this, team that are behind Harper or behind whoever the leader is, that's going to work together for common success. That's not the case.
Well, it is in some regards. I mean, one of my friends I knew from university, Ray Novak, back. And I mean, I'm still great friends with him. I'm still good friends with Dimitri Soudas, who I learned a lot from. He had his own kind of public issues with some of his choices, but you know, he's doing well now. We've caught up and stay in touch with each other. And
so I thought he was press secretary.
He was director of communications.
So he was director of communications.
Yeah, so it was press secretary, director of communications, chief of staff, Harper. Just kind of how the
gotcha.
The power
you're the
alignment.
one. You're the one that's doing the talking with the press.
Yeah, I was speaking on behalf of a G7 leader. Like I'm still like, how did that happen in my life? I come from this little town of 660 people, and you know, my dad had a grade 6 education, and my mom was a secretary, and that's what makes this country so great. We can do that.
Fantastic. What was it like being a female in that environment?
Yeah, it's changed a lot, I hope, in politics, but even between 2002 and 2004 to where I was in 2009, there's a lot of, now I think women try and support each other, but I think at the time, when you're kind of cutting your teeth in a very male-dominated industry and you're young and you're female and you've got a senior role, you feel like there's kind of a competition that there's only so many seats at the table for females.
Yep.
And now I don't think people in this generation think about that, which I think is a great thing.
I got the impression that, you know, at that time, Ottawa was an old boys club, a very misogynistic.
Yes. I could tell you stories, but I'd be served with libel.
How did you deal with it?
You just swallowed it. You just swallow it. That's all you do. You got to go on and do your job and be a professional, and you just perform well. If you perform well, then and keep a good relationship with the boss, which I still call him boss. I call him PMSH or boss. He always will be. And, you know, I have unique experiences. So
you got some pictures for us.
Yeah, this was, he did a taping on Murdoch Mysteries, that Canadian film in Toronto, or TV series. Him and Rachel, I can't hold her properly. His daughter really loved the series, and we got him on for a couple of lines, and that was a really fun one. And this is how his hair looked. Doesn't his hair look good like that?
Very, much better than it was.
I know, and I tried to get him to convince him to do it for the 2011 election, and he was ready to do it, and then nobody stood up behind me. All my colleagues.
Show us some more pictures.
This is at the G8, of course. You will famously bring up the gazebo quite often, but I was. Why can't I do that properly?
Harper and the Smoke with you in the background.
Yeah, I was moderating the press conference. I was the first female to ever moderate the G8 conference.
So you got to meet the leaders of all of the countries.
Yes.
Cool.
I did. It was. I mean, my very first trip with Stephen Harper was in 2009. It was to the United Nations General Assembly, and this is the most hilarious story. So I'm not used to like moving with the protective detail, and like you got to be in there. And so I'm in the intercon. The whole place is shut down. We're supposed to be running off to have a bilateral with, I think, the King of Jordan, and the doors to the elevator shut. And Stephen, the Prime Minister's looking at me, going, "What?" And so then I had to wait 20 minutes for another elevator, and then I had to run to the meeting in my heels, and I'm sweating, and I'm showing up, and it was just like, you know, the newbie on town. Everyone's like, who is this Sarah that we brought in? She's a bloody disaster. So that was
my some more pictures.
This is a fun one. There we go. It's kind of a tradition when you leave a senior role that the Prime Minister comes out and gives you a toast in the airplane. So this is in the Grey Goose, we called it. And he's there
giving you
giving me a toast and thanking me for my service. And then all the other people around there are other senior advisors. And then this is one of my favorites. It's from a media party we would host at Christmas at 24 Sussex, and that's obviously the Prime Minister's wife, Lorraine, and me. And you can see our faces with obviously we're talking to media, and we're making fun of them. And anyway, I said this to Lorraine the next day when the photographer sent it to me. I said, "Who says conservative chicks aren't hot?" Anyway, so it was a fun relationship, a privileged time.
You know, you've got to be up on so many different issues. How often did you do a press briefing? Every day or once a week or what?
Well, I didn't do press briefing. Well, every day after question period, I would go out and I would meet with the Prime Minister after question period and say, okay, here's what I don't really like that you said, and we need to clarify this. Are you okay if I go out and say that? or this is our line, I want you to stick to this line going forward. And then if there was something I had to clean up, you go out, you talk to the press, and you clean up well, what he really meant was, you know, if you want to write that story, you can write that story, but I can give you some information that maybe...
So is this one-on-one, or is this...
One-on-one, yeah.
So you're not doing a scrum type thing, or a...
No, I didn't ever. It wasn't the U.S. style where I was standing at a podium giving scrums and taking questions. Like, I would do that for international trips, or if we were at a conference or a summit or something like that.
So if you're doing it one-on-one, you don't have a briefing book with you. You're out there just talking.
No, you just know it. You live and you breathe it. It's
how
osmosis.
do you know all those issues?
Well, you don't always know all the issues, but you can find out the information. And when you call, like if the Prime Minister's press secretary calls the cabinet minister's office, they answer and they get the answers for you.
What was it like in BC working with Christy Clark? Was it different?
Very, yes. They're very different people, as you can imagine. But you know, I went to 24 to give my resignation to the Prime Minister. I walk in, he's in his sock feet and he's reading his policy. He's like, wasn't expecting you. This can't be good. Because it's like 8 o'clock at night. And so we go in, there's these big overstuffed gold chairs that were in the living room. And so I tell him that I'm leaving. And he's like, why? It's not that we're not happy with you. Like, what is it? And I said, and then we just kind of talked it through, and he says, you're going to work for Christy, aren't you? I said, yeah, I want to save the province from going orange. We need to get pipelines happening, and you're not going to get that if the NDP takes over in BC. And so that's what drew me to BC, as well as a former colleague of mine, Ken Bosencool, who was also served as a policy advisor to Stephen Harper on many different occasions.
And you were director of communications there, not just press secretary, so it was a...
Yeah, and it was a very different kettle of fish. I mean, like, we had such message discipline in Ottawa, and centralized control and resources.
And not the same
and good working relationships with cabinet ministers, and they didn't have that in BC. It was a total mess. I mean, you'd have the finance minister going out making an announcement when the premier is. Like, you do not Bigfoot your leader. And trying to resolve that. It was a lot of legacy staff. I mean, the Liberals had been in power for so long that it happens not just with the actual political leaders, but also with political staff. There becomes an entitlement and an aversion to change and risk behavior.
You've done so much. You've had such incredible experiences.
Yes. Yeah.
What's the future for you?
The future for me is building my business, Sara, which is the business consulting firm. I focus on medium-sized businesses in the oil, grain, and gas and telecommunications that are looking to pivot or diversify their revenue streams. I take them through really a 4-step process. It's 6 to 8 months. I'm not meant to be in there for a long time. I help them get on a path to change and a path to more sustainable revenue.
And if people want to give you a call and access your services, how do they do that?
Yeah, my website's vucasera.com, so VUCASERA.com, or you can email me at Sara, S-A-R-A, no H, potash, at vucasera.com.
What a fascinating career you've had. What's the most memorable, the highlight of your career? If you had 30 seconds to tell someone, the most exciting thing that happened, what would it be?
I think it was during the 2011 election campaign. We had started in Charlottetown, PEI, and we ended in Chilliwack, and it had been a 21-hour day. And we get a call from the U.S. They've got Osama bin Laden. So we're so exhausted. The media's exhausted. And I got to call them all, and I'm like, we got to do another press conference. Harper has to respond to this. And so it ended up being a 26-hour day, and then we ended up flying directly to Calgary, and that was vote day. So that was an incredible historical moment, but it was also just such a typical grind of the job. And you know, it's people that work these hours and serve the country and that are doing that now during COVID-19. I don't care if you're Liberal, NDP, Green, or Conservative. They are giving their life to their job. Yep. And they're doing it for the service of this country.
Sara MacIntyre, thank you so much for coming on our show.
Thanks so much.
Really appreciate it, and congratulations on you know, just a spectacular run. And I'm sure we're going to see and hear a lot more from you in the future.
I hope so. Have me back anytime.
Good stuff. You know, I think Sara's story is a wonderful story, and I wanted to allow all of you to hear it. But also, in addition to just hearing her story and how interesting and exciting it is, I had a message in there, and that is that I think politics is one of those places where a young person can get an incredibly wonderful experience. When I was 16 years old, was a commissioner for Toronto District for the Ontario Young Liberals. And when I was in my early 20s, I was a youth chairman for David Peterson in his leadership campaign. A young person can get involved in politics and have a very senior experience and a very good experience and make contacts that they're going to make use of for the rest of their career. So if you're at all interested, give that some thought, particularly if some rumors that we've been hearing are right, that we're going to come up to a federal election soon. Now's your time. And, you know, I don't care what party you get involved in. Get involved in one of the parties and do your country a service and do yourself a great deal of fun and some experience as well. That's the Brian Crombie Show for tonight on Canada One TV. Thank you so much for joining us. Sarah, it's a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Good night, everybody.
एयर विंग्स ट्रैवल एंड टूर्स नॉर्थ अमेरिका की सबसे बाएतमाद और फास्टेस्ट एयर ट्रैवल सर्विसेज। 25 साल का तजर्बा लिए लातादाद अफोर्डेबल ट्रैवल डील्स के साथ एक्सीलेंस इन कस्टमर सर्विसेज ऑन जस्ट वन फोन कॉल। ये है एयर विंग्स ट्रैवल एंड टूर्स। फॉर बुकिंग कॉल नाउ 1855-247-9464 or 905-272-2300. Air Wings Travel and Tours.
Hi everyone, I hope you are doing fine. Today we are here to show you one of the brand new luxury detached houses in Oakville, one of the finest area, Burloak and Lakeshore. Steps to waterfront, 5 bedroom, 6 washroom, unparalleled, stunning, waiting for the buyer, and most beautiful kitchen, gourmet kitchen, 5 bedroom, 6 washroom, 110 is a frontage, 129 deep, one of the biggest lot in Oakville and one of the most beautiful house you can see in the Oakville. We can show you inside how it look like. Let me show you the amazing functional layout of this house, one of the tasty, finest luxury house. And let me show you the gourmet chef kitchen. It's a beautiful kitchen and the family room and the layout for the backyard. You can have a swimming pool down there and amazing cover porch. And this is a family room. You will have it. It's not finished yet, but I'm showing you because this house is waiting for the buyer who have a taste. 1 bedroom on the main floor with the attached washroom. 1 bedroom. This is a bedroom. You can make an office with the attached washroom and walk-in closet. Let me take you to the living room. That's the living room. You can have it. This is the living room and dining room with the kitchen entrance. You can have a dirty kitchen. There's a mud room. You have a 2 entrances over here and 2 washroom on the main floor and mud room is down there. You have a pantry here with the close to the dining room and then you can enter to the kitchen here from as well. Look at that, that's a beautiful house and now I will take you upstairs. Master bedroom here with the huge walk-in closet and the huge washroom. Looking at the washroom, this most beautiful washroom, this beautiful washroom over here with the master bedroom. And here is another bedroom. All bedrooms have a separate walk-in closet and the washroom. Now I can take you to the 3rd bedroom. Here is a sunrest here, where you can have a chandelier here, almost 20-foot ceiling over here, with the open concept on the frontage. On the frontage, and then we have another third bedroom here. This bedroom also have a attached washroom. And now I can take you to the fourth bedroom. Fourth bedroom is here, and that's also with the attached washroom and the walk-in closet. Hope you like this house, 3547 Wilmot Crescent in Oakville, one of the finest area, southwest Oakville, Burloak and Lakeshore, walking distance to lake. And this tasty home, if you want to buy, don't wait. Please call me 416-827-3333 or visit my website www.wajidmalik.com.
Consumer Choice Award recipients and GTA's top-ranked service provider, Dixie Electronics, authorized dealer of all major companies. Shop with a peace of mind, and low prices are always guaranteed.
I promise best customer service and lowest prices in GTA because we beat prices from all major stores and small stores. At Dixie Electronics, our motto is we sell quality and deliver confidence.
Dixie Electronics and Appliances, 5120 Dixie Road, Unit 11, Mississauga. Phone number 905-625-5900.
If you are looking for a reliable, professional, and affordable travel agency in your town, then your search is over. Global Travel and Tours is your personal travel partner. Our dedicated staff at Mississauga, Jeddah, and Islamabad is always ready to make your trip hassle-free, memorable, and cost-effective. We will assist you with hotel reservations, the transportation, visa assistance, and travel insurance. We are the #1 pilgrimage specialist for Hajj, Umrah, as well as ziyarats to Iran and Iraq. Global Travel and Tours is a one-stop solution for your travel, immigration, and Forex needs. We are IATA approved agents and an authorized Umrah agent. To book your holiday or Umrah package, please give us a call right now at 1-877-275-3555. We look forward to hearing from you.
जब घर में आ जाएं कुछ अजनबी तो रेस्क्यू करेगा रेस्क्यू कनाडा। बेड बग्स का हमेशा के लिए खात्मा। द सॉल्यूशन इज वन कॉल अवे 289-489-0678। घर खरीदना है या बेचना, या आप हैं फर्स्ट टाइम होम बायर, ऑनेस्ट एडवाइस के लिए मुझसे राब्ता कायम कीजिए। मेरा नंबर है 416-835-1997 या मेरी वेबसाइट विजिट कीजिए www.badr.ca।
जिंदगी शम्मा की सूरत हो खुदाया मेरी।
मुस्लिम वेलफेयर सेंटर के जरिए आप पाकिस्तान के रेगिस्तान में प्यासों को पानी पिला सकते हैं, गरीब बच्चों की तालीम और माली परवरिश कर सकते हैं, बीमारों का मुफ्त इलाज करवा सकते हैं। ज़कात, सदक़ात या फिदिया देने के लिए आज ही हमें फोन करें 1-866-754-3111।